This is Boxing Tickets NI. We are delighted to be joined for the very first time with one of Belfast's newest professional boxers, one of Ireland's newest professional boxers, Fionntan Loughlin. Is that correct? Have I got that right?
Yep. Yes, it is. Fionntan Loughlin.
There we go. I'll not make too many references back to the name because obviously sometimes I can get it right, lucky that first time, and then all of a sudden it's I'm back to square one. I'll be calling you something different. But I guess we're what nearly 2 months on now since obviously news first broke that you were turning
Yeah.
professional. You probably had a bit of time to adjust. Probably people messaging you, obviously wishing you luck and everything else they got. You've had news of your obviously your debut now. It's going to be on the 8th of February in the Devonish. Tell me obviously how you're feeling now. Obviously, you've dreamt of becoming a pro for a long time. Now the wheels are in motion. You've got your medical, you've got your fight date. You're probably feeling like we see a Christmas tree behind you. You feel like Christmas has come early for you.
Hi. Feeling on top of the world. I can't wait for it. Just been working hard for the last, from I turned pro actually. Been working from then, just training with guy nearly every day. Just trying to get into that pro style. Because it's completely different sport than amateur. So we're working more on that pro style. Getting the swing of things, and I'll be well ready for the 8th of February. It's plenty of time to get ready for it too. So I think that wee 2 months without no fighting has done me well because it's just going to give me more time to get ready for the fight, and I'll be very sharp coming towards the fight. Like,
And what age would you be at the minute, Fintan? Obviously, you look very young. Like I would probably say, I'm
I
putting you
look
in the
about
Only Gunner
16.
Soul Share mode. I'm going to say you're a baby-faced assassin. I don't know if that's going to be
Yeah,
your nickname or anything like that, but you look very young. What age are you?
I'm coming 23 on New Year's Eve.
There we are. There's the ultimate compliment. People tell you look younger. You could probably still get a
I
plus for a kid sort of thing, which can work out well. But that could be a good nickname for you. You could be the baby-faced assassin. Obviously, you're coming 23, but you probably only look about 17 or 18, which I
yeah.
guess can be good for other things. But like for you, when did boxing first start? Like obviously you're 22 currently, so you know you can probably remember nearly probably putting the gloves on for the first time. What age were you?
Yeah. I think I started boxing when I was probably about 10, 9 or 10, but I only stuck at it for about a year. And then I left, tried other sports, and then I ended up getting back into boxing when I was 13, I think. So from then, that's when I started competing properly in competitions from the age of 13 up to about 18. And then I think I left for a couple of years and then came back just in the last year and a half.
What was it at first of all? I guess, being from Belfast and everything else they got, obviously, we've seen obviously all the great champions and things that have had in the years. What was it that got you into boxing? First of all, were you pushed sort of into it? Like sometimes, like I can remember when I was a kid, obviously I'm a lot older, but when I was a kid, it was like go and do karate, you need to learn self-defense. Was it
Yeah.
somebody pushed you, to the gym? Like what first of all got you interested?
My big brother, he's boxing from he was about 9, and he boxed right up to he was about 18 too. So I think just seeing him boxing and winning fights all the time just got me interested in it. And then obviously I went and tried it when I was like 10, and then don't know, just I was always interested in football at that age, but I think when I got like 13, about 12 or 13, I always wanted to join boxing, and then the coach of St. Paul's, Ralph, he used to come pick my brother up every day for training, and I was out kicking the football, I remember, and he just said, "Why not come down to the boxing club?" So that was the start of it. They ended up going down with Emmons every night from the age of 13. Well, I think 12. I think I went down and started competing at 13.
And like, where you initially went to the gym and obviously, and then came away from the game, was it, like boxing isn't for everybody. Like, it's a crazy sport. It's the most dangerous sport in the world. But like,
Yeah.
punch in the face sometimes, it's like if someone's punching you in the face and you can't hit them back, it can be mentally tough on you. Like, what obviously took you there first of all? What took you away? Like, was it just the fact that you wanted to play football instead?
I was always interested in football from I was a kid, but I was never any good at it. So I just once I went back to boxing when I was like 12 or 13, it's just completely different. Just grew an interest in it, started to love it. So it's just and I was actually better at it than I was at football. So it was just like, oh, I'm just going to give this a try.
And your
That was
brother's
it.
older than you as well, so obviously it was a case of looking up to your brother sort of thing.
Yeah,
That was that brought you back. That sort of thing. It was like, let's try the boxing. My brother's decent at it. I can be decent at it. And I guess in a lot of things as well. Growing up as a teenager, having that discipline and that for boxing, obviously it learns you sort of not be, keep it in the ring sort of rather than out in the street. So it probably helped you to grow up a lot with it as well.
yeah, 100%. Keep you off the streets. I wasn't really like that as a kid anyway. I was alright, like, but yeah, 100% gives you that discipline. So it does. So yeah, but I was sort of a heavy kid when I was like 12, so I more or less got into it, to just try and lose a bit of weight. But obviously, when the weight started coming off me, and then I was just learning more about the sport, I just grew a love for it, and that was the start of things.
It's crazy, the amount of stories, the amount of boxers I've spoke to, and obviously the different reasons and things why they get in. And for a lot of them, sometimes it is, they're a bit heavier. Obviously, I remember Connor Wallace, obviously, who fought yesterday. He was a chubby kid, and he got into it to sort of lose weight, and then you just have that passion, you fall in love with it. Like you think of the
Yeah,
percentage of people that walk through a boxing gym and might not ever fight, but obviously they might not even get a good standard. Like a lot of people have been in there boxing in some way, whether it's doing pads or whether it's fighting, but that small percentage then that make it, and you've had success as an amateur as well. Like, tell me what you obviously have accomplished as an amateur.
so I would have won a couple of Antrim titles, probably about 400 titles. I think I've won three Ulster titles. Belfast Opens, I think I've won that 4 or 5 times too. I've won CYPs probably about 3 times as well. And then obviously I fought down the All Irelands nearly every year, but just I never came up short every year down there. So
And
I've travelled as well. So I've fought for the Ulster High Performance. I've fought for the Antrim team, going to America and Belgium, a couple of other countries too. So I've got good experiences out of amateur boxing, which I think will help me in the pro game too.
it's it's them obviously experiences that count. Obviously, it's the winning the titles, it's having defeats and things like that. It's you know, I know that amateur boxing and professional boxing, as I would say, would be two different sports nowadays, but you have them
Yeah.
foundations already in place. Like how did you deal with defeat as an amateur? Obviously, I guess, you could be a bad loser, you could have been robbed in fights and things like that. How did you
Yeah.
deal with defeat as an amateur?
Well, it's not nice to lose, obviously, but if it was a if it was a hard fight, you learn from it that way. So I always just looked at it as wasn't really a loss; it was learning from it. I would still look at it like that too, but obviously, obviously, it's not nice to lose. You don't want to lose. Like you're going in to win every fight. That's the way I go in the fight anyway. I go in to win every fight I fight.
It's that mentality sometimes, isn't it? It's like, when you think of Vasily Lomachenko, I think he had 397 amateur fights and he's only ever beaten once. It's
Yeah,
statistics like that I think are very hard to come by, and I guess probably some of the very best sometimes, they've had to have defeats to get better, so you have to do something wrong to get better. So in some ways with amateur boxing, with you, the defeats you've had as an amateur, you've learned from each time. So now when you progress as a pro, you already know what it's like. So you don't want it to happen again.
yeah, 100%.
Obviously growing up, being a boxer and things like that, who did you look up to, in your early years as growing up in boxing? Who did you sort of mimic your style on? Who was your favorite boxer growing up?
I always loved I always loved like being a counter puncher in the amateur game. So I would have looked at people like Regan though, the Cuban who fought Lomachenko, and I obviously would have looked up to Lomachenko as well. I would have watched Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather. It was just that was the style I would have loved like when I was boxing.
It's wee things like that sometimes, it's like everybody dreams, it's like even, you're playing football, and you're out in the pitch and you're hitting a shot, you call someone's name, it's like Shearer or Fowler
Yeah,
or whatever, because you just, it makes you feel good in that moment. And I guess having idols in the boxing thing, like it helps you to get better, it helps you to study, more
yeah,
than anything, because you could think you're the very best boxer in the world, and then you look at someone's clips online, you're going, Whoa, I wish I was as good as them.
Yeah, 100%.
You know. Um, Talk to me. Obviously, when you said obviously when you turned pro, it was a long dream you sort of had. Like, at what age did you then start to dream of becoming a professional boxer?
I think from the very start, I would always wanted to go pro. Obviously, in the future, I didn't really have dreams of being an Olympian or anything in amateur boxing. Like, so I think the dream was always to be a world champion in professional boxing. It wouldn't have been a world champion in amateur boxing. So it's just I've always wanted to be a professional from I started. So it's just
Was that
looking
more
forward to it.
down to like seeing the success of like local boxers? When you have the Framptons, your Burnett's, your Katie Taylors, does that come from that sort of because you've seen world champions sort of on your doorstep sort of thing? Was it more that you could become more relatable to that rather than the likes of Rigondeaux as
Yeah,
things like that?
100%. Well, James Tennyson, he would have grew up. He's from sort of around the same area as me, so I always want to watch James Tennyson and just seeing how well he was doing. I was going, he's from Puglas, and look at how well he's doing in the professional game. He's fought for 2 world titles. I know he came up short, but he's had a brilliant career, and it just shows you that anyone can do it.
What a career James had. Like I still obviously wind him up and things like that at times. Like, do you think of how many fights he had and how many times he's seen the final bell? I don't think James Tennyson liked to hear the final bell, or he didn't want it to be going to judges sort of hands. It's like I think there's only four ever of his professional fights went the distance. Which is a crazy statistic.
Crazy, especially for the weight he fought at too.
I'm just actually looking here. I'm just correcting myself. Yeah, four fights. So he 28 wins, 24 by knockout, and obviously defeated four times by knockout as well. So, like,
Yeah,
what an idol they sort of have. Like, I guess everybody would like to be James Tennyson. They have that concussive knockout punch.
yeah, definitely, 100%.
Obviously, the success he had as well. Obviously, I called him obviously the belt collector. That many belts. Obviously, whether it was Commonwealth, whether it was European, whether it was British, whether it was a WBA belt, he won quite a lot of belts. I guess it's that
Yeah,
success, but it's probably more so now for a lot of people, more money than obviously titles. It's like trying to make the most out of a career, which probably isn't going to last you the rest of your life. So, like
yeah,
ideally, if you retire from boxing, say about 30, 35, you want to have money in the bank rather than belts sometimes.
yeah, 100%. That's it. Professional boxing is a job. So you obviously you need to be paid well for it. You're going and getting punched in the face. You want to be getting paid well for it at the end of the day.
Exactly. Or if you're not getting punched in the face, if you're punching someone else, you're getting paid well for it as well. Tell me,
Yeah.
obviously, away from boxing, obviously, your hair, you're a barber. Sorry, I sometimes
Yeah.
get mixed up with hairdresser and barber. I'm not sure if there's the same meaning, sort of, but you're a barber by trade. So
Hairdressers like women's hair, and then a barber's obviously cutting men's hair.
there we go. I've been corrected there. But obviously you're a barber by trade, so like I guess the good thing for you is you're on your feet day in day out. Obviously
Yeah.
with with boxing that's going to help you in some ways because obviously it's I guess if you're always busy cutting hair, it's saving you from keeping you controlled for a diet wise coming up to fights and things.
Yeah, 100%.
You'll be doing people's haircuts in at the weigh-ins before they weigh in. Like you bring the shears and cut their hair. Sure they're looking good for fight night.
Yep. £50 haircut, they're going to be getting charged.
um, so obviously talk to me then. You obviously have a couple of spells away from boxing. You've obviously come back. What was it? How did the switch to professional boxing then come about? Like, was it sort of you were you were seeing, you know, what then changed for you? You decided, yes, I'm going pro.
So when I got back I was trying to get back into boxing for a couple of years, and I kept going back to St. Paul's. But the way I was working in the barbers, I wasn't getting out to half 6 most nights, and training down St. Paul's would start at 6 o'clock. So I never had any time to go back to the amateur. And Gary O'Neill, that's my coach now. He used to be a coach down in St. Paul's, and then he left and went down to John Breen's. So he got his pro license, and he was obviously helping down John Breen's for a couple of years. So I just started going down there when I had the time, training with Gary, and then sort of going in and out, and then I came back again. The guy would live. He lives in my street, so I just started going to the local gym with him every more or less every day, just doing the pads. Wasn't even thinking about fighting. It was just about hitting the pads again. I just wanted to get back into my boxing a wee bit, and then obviously the more I kept doing it, and the more I was getting fitter, he was saying, "Why not take a fight?" And I was just wasn't really interested in taking a fight at the start. But then obviously the more I kept doing it, that's it. I just got fitter, and I was like, "Why not? I may as well take a fight."
You
So
felt you
that was the start of it.
you sort of get your confidence back and you sort of fall in love with it again. You remember sort of why you boxed in the first place.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that's
know,
it. I was just getting the love for it again. It's good. I'm glad it did happen because if it didn't start training with Gary, I wouldn't be here now. So big
everything
thanks to
happens
Gary
for a
and
reason,
Avery
doesn't
for
it?
helping me out.
And obviously you're signed to Ian Gaughran as well. Obviously he's quite obviously a lot of a stable. How did that sort of come about then? And obviously did you get in contact with Ian and obviously that all worked out.
Yeah, well, I contacted Ian and just told him about my amateur background and stuff. Said I was interested in turning pro, and that was it. Basically, I was talking to other promoters too, but I just liked the way Ian was like talking to me about it. So I just swung more towards his way instead of the other promoters, and I think it was the right move.
And you're going to campaign at at featherweight, is that correct?
Yeah,
So and obviously debut, I guess you can't get better than, the Devonish probably wouldn't be too far away from you as well. So, you
no,
know,
Daphne's just local, so it is like 5-10 minute drive.
so it makes it easier, I guess, in some ways. We've seen in the past when people's making their debuts, maybe in the south of Ireland, maybe in different countries as
Yeah,
well. Like it's great for you, I guess, where you can start it all off on your doorstep in Belfast. And probably, ideally, most of your fights are going to happen in Belfast as well. So it's great for you to kick things off with a home debut.
yeah, 100%.
And like I guess, like, what do you make of professional boxing currently? As things are, like we've had 16 shows, I think, this year. 20, 20, 22 or 24 new champions and things this year. Like, do you
Yeah,
study much of Irish boxing? Like, do you keep a
yeah. I
regular
think
eye on it?
Irish boxing at the minute's flying. I think you're seeing more and more people turning over pro now too, which is it's brilliant for Irish boxing. So I think Irish boxing is just it's flying at the minute.
And like,
It's
even when
only
we
going
look
to
at
get
that
better.
card, I was going to say, sorry, even when we look at that card, obviously on the 8th of February, like a lot of new pros within the last year or so are sort of, like John Boyd's obviously headlining the card. He only made his
Yeah,
debut this sort of year. Like there's a lot of new pros. It's like a next generation card, but like it shows the depth of obviously how much Irish boxing's there. That a lot of these are all getting the chance to propel yourselves at the same time along with each other.
yeah.
Talk to me obviously about the style. Like, what can people expect? Maybe people haven't seen you box for a while. People might not have seen you box. Talk to me obviously about the style of a fighter you are. Like, what can people expect when they see you in the ring on the 8th of February?
I think back in my amateur days, it always would have been counter punching, would have been slick moving on the back foot. I think now I can mix it up. I'm a slick mover on the back foot. I can counter punch. I can go forward as well and sit down on punches and try and hurt someone because it's what pro boxing is about. Pro boxing is about going in to hurt someone at the end of the day. It's not about all this lovely boxing. So I think it just depends who I'm fighting, but I'll just adapt to anyone I'm fighting. I can box on the back foot. I can box coming forward. So
And I
box
guess
any way.
I was going to say, sorry. I guess you know when it feels like a new start, it's a fresh start with the pro game. The first couple of fights, I guess you're probably going to be in with journeyman sort of level. Like it's probably going to feel
Yeah.
like somebody's got stabilizers on you and they're sort of holding you back. But a good thing for you is you get to sort of have a couple of learning fights as a pro before you start to transition more into it.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. Well, see fighting them journeymen. Journeymen are there. They get paid to go in and survive basically. So I know I'm not gonna go in looking for the knockout against journeymen because I know they're good at surviving. I'm just gonna go in and stick to my boxing. And if a knockout comes, it comes. So it's stick to the game plan always.
It's that learning, isn't it? Obviously, they've their job, they help you progress, but obviously at the same time, you obviously understand that they've their job. Like if you already stop one of them, they can't fight for a month, and then
Yeah,
they're not helping someone else develop at the same time.
yeah,
Um, I guess the new things you're probably going to get used to is obviously, selling tickets, sponsorship and things like that. How are you getting on with that so far? Have you got any sponsors involved?
yeah. I've actually got plenty of sponsors on board at the minute. Obviously, I'll get more coming on board, but yeah, I've been working away behind the scenes. I think I've got plenty of sponsors already, and there's obviously going to be more to jump on board. So it's going well, and then the ticket selling is actually going it's actually going well at the minute too. I wasn't expecting it to go as well as it has been before Christmas because obviously everyone's focusing on Christmas stuffs. But yeah, I think it's going well. And now after Christmas, I think it'll just fly out even more. So yeah, my last fight was actually on like a white collar semi pro show, and that was my first time selling tickets.
Mhm.
So I sort of understand the way it works anyway.
Where was that at? Was that in the Devonish or was it
I
somewhere
was
else?
in the Dabneys too, yeah.
So I guess the good thing for you in some ways, what's great about these white collar shows is they give you that environment of selling tickets, making the walkouts and things like that, without head guard and stuff on. So like
Yeah.
you probably where a lot of people are trying to visualize their debut and things like that, you'll feel comfortable walking out in the Devonish because you've done it before.
Yeah, that's it. It was a totally different experience when I done it. It's obviously just all new to me when I done it, but I'm glad I have done it now because now I sort of know what way it's going to be like in professional game. I obviously know pros different than like the white collar boxing, but it's just sort of gets the feel for it.
And like when you look at activity and things like that, like how active you again, I guess when we're seeing so many shows and I guess it's going to be JB Promotions first show in Belfast, like how
Yeah,
active do you want to be as a pro in your first year?
just I want to fight as much as possible. Doesn't matter who I'm fighting or where I'm fighting. Just wanna try and get as much fights under my belt as I can.
That's the thing, isn't it? The people can only see the best of you, the more activity you have sometimes. So, the more you can fight, the more people can
Yeah.
see who you're all about. Well, look, obviously, Finland, we'll leave it obviously there. I guess we don't want to go in too much, and then we sort of can't speak for a while, but obviously enjoy your Christmas. I guess it's sacrifice you'll probably make. We're not eating selection boxes and things like that over Christmas for your upcoming
Yeah.
professional debut. But we'll look obviously forward to counting down the weeks with you, and we'll obviously no doubt catch up with you obviously on Fight Week in Belfast. For anybody obviously is probably watching the interview, it probably doesn't follow your career and things like that so far, and maybe looking to get tickets. How can people get in contact with you for tickets?
People can just contact me through social media pages. So my Instagram or my Facebook, contact me and get tickets off me through that.
Well, look, obviously, as I say, have a great Christmas, and we'll look forward to obviously catching up with you in 2024 and following your professional career.
Yep. Thanks very much. You too, mate.
Cheers, Finland. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye bye. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Bye.
Bye bye.